Hey folks, hope you're doing well, and it is the 22nd of July and I'm back on the healing wheel. Yep. Yeah, what I'm doing is these are like pound lumps here. So what I'm going to do is do some T-bowl kind of forms, which I'm then going to paddle. I've got this paddle, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this to paddle the T-bowls, and then I'll throw a couple, and then I'm going to trim one for you, which I already made. Okay, here goes. It's about 6:45, Tuesday evening, 22nd. Ah, yeah. So I like throwing forms that are paddled. I find them fun to do. Checking in my rear view mirror there. What you've got to remember is if you're doing like if you're going to paddle a pot, because basically what we do is we leave an imprint, don't we, on the side of the pot, and then we expand the form. So if you do that, you really want to leave a little bit extra thickness in the walls to allow for that expansion. Okay? Another thing to bear in mind is not to have the outside of the pot too ribby, you know. It's better to have if you're going to put a design on there, you don't want other competing ribby lines there. So it's best just to, so what I do is just use my throwing stick like this, you see, just to take out the worst of any of those. And now I've got to use this guy, so what I'm going to do is, as always with paddling, make sure you thoroughly wet the paddle. If you don't do that, then the wet clay from the pot will stick right in all the grooves and everything, and you'll be in a right mess, you know. You won't be able to continue with that paddle. So make sure it's thoroughly wet. Basically what you're doing is reducing the absorbency of the paddle so that the clay is not interested in sticking to it, and when you hit it with the paddle it gives the impression. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to put one hand on the inside, okay, like that. I put it in like that. I don't put my hand in like that, okay? I put it like that. Reason being that, you know, you get the convex form of the outside of your hand against the inner wall of the pot. Now I'm going to smack it with this in a random kind of way. I don't want to get too kind of thinking it's got to be perfect, you know. At this stage it can look pretty ugly, trust me, but now we have got to do the magic, haven't we? We've got to. So the first thing you want to do is bring the top into line, you know. Of course, we can't touch it down below, otherwise the pattern will be ruined. So just first of all, true the top up as best you can, and now I'm going to go down the bottom, and I'm going to gradually, pushing my fingers outwards slowly. You've got to do this gradually, you know, this this expansion thing on these. As you can see, the top on this one has gone out a bit, more than it usually does. I can deal with that in a moment, but I'm not going to be bothered about it right now. Question is how far to. Let's bring that camera down for a bit of detail. I know you like the details. Nice music, huh? Okay, there it is, a bit closer for you. Yeah. Okay, so you notice I keep a finger here at the top. That's because when you expand a form, it wants to open, you know. It wants to widen and bulge out, but it also will want, the top will also want to come open. Well, you don't want that, so you've got to keep this finger here to keep the top in. Just bear that in mind. Now I'm expanding it. Okay, now I'm looking at the top again. I'm going to use my needle tool here. For that I'm using one of my own needle tools, which is a very fine one, so it doesn't destroy the top of the pot when I try to cut it off, you know. Sometimes if your needle is too much like a veterinary needle for a horse, let's say, it's a good recipe to destroy your pot. Which we don't want to do.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo. He's making faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com.
Is anybody else out there tired of all this artificial intelligence? Oh boy. How about some real intelligence, not artificial? It's turning people into zombies, isn't it? People's brains are turning off because they're just turning to AI. Crazy. They need to get on the potter's wheel for a stretch, don't they? Okay, just sort of finalising the form here a bit. And yeah. Alright, so let's see. We'll take the leather. Don't forget, folks, leather the tops of your pots, okay? It does a number of things for your pot. Maybe you didn't know that, I don't know, but if you didn't know, it's about time you did. Certainly you don't want to be using a sponge or anything like that. Some people use a sponge. It's the worst thing to do because it just brings out all the grog, you see. You don't want to do that. Alright. So use a lever, it compresses the rim, okay? Compresses the rim and it makes it nice and smooth and nice and rounded, you see. Okay, let's get this guy finished. We're going to use a throwing stick now down the bottom here because these will be trimmed, but before I do that I'm going to just do a wet trim now with my throwing stick. Put an undercut in there. Okay, that's good enough for now. That will be trimmed. There we go. Cut off wire. Cut through. And there's different ways of getting these off. I'll show you one way that I do. And that is just wet your fingers like this. Okay? Get them like that and just go like that, you see? It'll just come off in your hands. Don't be frightened of him. Okay, let's take the camera down, just have a look at that. Let's be critical, see what we got going on. Dee 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 dee. Could be quite nice, I think, with the glaze playing over that. Okay, so that's going to have a cut foot, and that's what we're going to do now. In the next, with the next part, I think I'm going to just call it a day with the making, as I've shown you that one. And I've got one that I made yesterday, which is ready for trimming. Okay, so we're going to do that. A couple of trim tools. Yeah, this is one I threw yesterday. So one of these trim tools we'll use. Okay, just wet the rim like that and put him face down. Yeah, let's come in a bit closer. Come in a little bit closer on that one. Okay. All right. Okay, so just tap center here. Okay, learn how to tap center. Save yourself a lot of time. So okay, now we're going to take, using one of my trim tools here. So we're just going to always remember when you're trimming like this, there's always this just in case index finger on the top here. It also is giving some downward pressure. So it's a case of getting the right diameter here in relation to the overall diameter, okay? It's not a case of something being right and something being wrong, it's what feels right to you. But that you will get to know what you like, you know? I know what I like, and I try and do it, you know, I try and follow your inner self, if you like, you know, in terms of, it's a little bit like listening to music, you know, and you hear certain music, something about it does something for you. And also with shapes and things, it'll find something, it'll do something for you, you know, and pay attention to that, and then go by that, you know, as much as you can, without getting too deep and philosophical about it all. Okay, so here again, I've done the foot, the external part of the foot. Now I've got to cut out the inside. So again, brace yourself. Don't have any loose floppy arms, you know, you pull yourself together, man, you know. Okay, so pull yourself together, and now with the finger on top, begin to break in here in the middle. So hollowing out the foot. So I put a chamfer on the corner, on the outside corner, as well as on the inside corner, okay? Also pay attention to the thickness here of the foot. The carving of a foot is a very subjective thing. Again, follow your inner liking, so to speak. Okay, there it is. Give it a couple of taps, it should come off. Put him back on the wheel. Tap center. Now I'm going to use the trim tool on the lip, holding my finger, then bringing the tool down like that. It's not a move for novices. And I'm putting my finger right in the very center at the bottom, just keeping it down, you know, in case it decides to do a wobbly, you know. You ever had that pot do a wobbly? So I'm using my leather again, just give it a final one thing remains to be done, that is put a seal on it. If you have personal seals, keep them in a box, you won't lose them then. Okay, I'm feeling the base here feels a little on the thin side, so I'm going to have to be careful. taking a little bit of water, just putting it there where I'm going to impress the seal. And also, when you put a seal on the base of a pot, put your longest finger right there, opposite where the seal is going to go, okay? Okay, here we're good. Just bring it up here for you to look at. Get yourself a seal, don't be a scratcher. Too many people out there scratching illegible marks that nobody can understand. Alright, there it is. I think you'll agree that is turned out quite nice, I think. Okay, there it is, folks. So you've just seen me make one, now you've seen me trim one and finish it. Have a go. Do something creative. Get yourself, be inventive, you know, find paddles, something to impress. Clay loves to be impressed, doesn't it? As you know, I have this one which I use a lot. But, I mean, you know, somebody gave me this and I used that to impress on a T-bolt one time. Yeah, so that's it. Okay, folks, come and join us for a workshop if you so desire. There are dates are on my website, check them out. Hope that video is still running. Alright, hey, Simon Leach saying keep practicing, over and out. See you in the next video.